Banana and Bears Rugby Pod.
Gordon, Jesus Christ almighty, here we go again.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Bless,
Disaster.
bless me, Father, for I have sinned. Oh, Jesus Christ.
This is my second confession.
You're
My first confession was just now, Tom's in a hoop because I just told him that I've never seen Lord of the Rings. And second confession, I only have 22% battery left.
I don't know which one I'm more stressed out about, to be honest.
Maybe someday I'll watch Lord of the Rings.
Do you know what? I'm not nerdy about a thing. I think you'd love it because it's such a feel good. I'll throw it on when you have a hangover now, or you're just feeling a bit down, and you have some nice grubbins.
I've never heard feel good about Lord of the Rings, but okay, I'll take your word for it.
It's lovely. It is. It's rolling hills, and okay, there's a couple of bitey dragons and stuff like that show up, but really, it's just little furry-footed people running around with swords. But it's very, very easy to watch. You'll enjoy it, but watch it when you need comfort. You know, that kind of way. You're just cozy. But you 22% battery, so you may need to slow down. If you can take this down at maybe 1.5, because Anna and myself are going to have to speak very quickly.
Oh, yeah. To get everything in. I know. Hello, everybody.
Hi. Yeah, welcome to the podcast, everybody. Jesus. How was your week? Was it all right?
Grand. I had a great weekend. My friend from home was here. One of my besties from Mallow, and we went cycling. We went out to the island. We had a great night at McNulty's, and great to have a friend visiting. Do you know? Because everyone's always like, "Oh, come and visit," and then it's just so hard to actually like pencil it in. So that was great.
McNulty's should sponsor this podcast. It gets mentioned at least 4 times every single episode.
I swear, but I'm meeting people in there all the time. Like, I feel like the ambassador. Like, it just be, hello, how are you? Welcome.
You should have your own desk in there. Do you know what I mean? Like, and a little flag and maybe like a blazer. And just Anna sitting there with pints, just going, well.
Well, I tell you now, I was having this discussion. Someone's like, I wish someone could pay me for blackguarding. I wish I could be a professional. Feel like the word we were using was blackguard, but like the whole place was jumping because I was on the DJ decks, i.e. the laptop, putting on songs for people and like dancing and fucking by the end of the night everyone was dancing on tables.
There is a profession that does, you know,
I know what you're gonna say.
What was I going
I'm not gonna be a stand-up comedian. No, that's not what I'm talking about. It's too much pressure when you're a stand-up comedian.
I would love you to you'd be a really good student because you've trained your whole life. You'd be really good at following formula. And if you just let me put together 5 minutes with you, a 5-minute set, you'd fucking kill it with the training I'd give you. You'd absolutely murder your first 5-minute set. Because you're an athlete. They're the best. They're the best to follow acting instructions, the best to follow everything to the T. And if they've got a little bit of sauce naturally themselves, you're off to a winner. You're off to an absolute winner.
Yeah.
Think about it as a challenge.
Yeah, I'll think about it. Good for charity.
You know what? It would be good for charity because I've 1 or 2 other high-profile rugby players that I'd like to give it a go, and it'd be great to have 2 or 3 on a lineup for how we do it for charity.
They won't be as good as me, whoever they are.
No, they actually wouldn't be. I'd give you the extra training anyway. It's all right. It's grand. They'd only get the copper package. You get the platinum package.
They're obviously listening to this, trying to like up their game.
But do you know what? You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. They are definitely listening to this. The reason why I hadn't picked up in the McNulty's thing, I got told by an electrician during the week. It was an electrician or a plumber. He says, where is this pub McNulty's in La Rochelle? I went, what a random thing to say to me. What? I don't know. I've never been to McNulty's. And he went, well, you never stop fucking talking about it on the podcast. I says, I don't mention it. Anna's always in there. She goes, that's what I mean. Yeah, and this is a plumber.
Fuck it, they'd be delighted with that. I must tell him.
Yeah. So a plumber in Tipperary knew about McNulty's. And that'd be the first place he's going. If, like, drop the bags, gone to McNulty's.
I fucking tell you this much.
No,
No.
no,
Right, I'll send them this episode now. Better
do.
give me 3 pints, you fuckers.
3 pint packet of crisps or scampi fries, whichever the woman wants. Give her whichever she wants.
They've potatoes and they've Nobby's nuts.
I could take or leave Nobby's nuts. I
Oh,
could.
I'm a big fan.
Do you know, if
Sorry.
if it was between, it depends on what I'm drinking.
I
If
was
I
just about to say.
Yeah,
Sometimes it affect the taste of your pint.
I don't like to mess around too much with Guinness. But if I was drinking beer, throw anything salty at me you want at all. Anything. Throw as entire salted pig at me and I'd eat it.
Yeah.
But Guinness, any time I've tried it, I've had people go, "Oh yeah, you have to have some chocolate." And I'm like, "How about I just have some Guinness with my Guinness? Thank you."
I've never had chocolate with my Guinness.
It does. It is pretty nice, actually. It is. Yeah.
What? This is like the Northern Lights all over again. If people knew that this was the case, why weren't you telling me?
I listen to, but it's too wanky in some ways. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, there we are. There you are. You turn sideways. Great.
I look like a fucking. I look like. You know what I'm gonna do is just plug in the old charger there just in case if things are gonna explode, they might just explode. But like we're already down to 19% and things are dropping
Oh,
fast.
suffered in Jesus. Suffered in Jesus.
Oh
Well,
God.
we had
How was your week?
it's been intense. We were to record last night and I didn't really realize what I text. And then I saw the coming back. I said, fuck it. Look what time it is. And it is bollocks. Mither in my head on about fucking could he lay concrete here? And I was going, you couldn't fucking, I was solved. I had the problem solved half an hour before and I could have been down for the podcast. But this fella was,
You have to be careful of talking about your tradesmen on the podcast. If your plumber's listening to this,
the plumber's fine.
your concrete man might be listening to it as well.
He won't be the concrete man. The rate this fella was causing problems. He won't come next near the fucking place. And he dirtied his babe on it. The site is immaculate. Immaculate. And he threw a fag on the ground. I went, all right. Yeah.
No.
Yes, it is a building site, but it's immaculate. Not I had to go out with the clippers and pick up the fag butt after. I was just like, yeah.
Sorry, I didn't realize people were still throwing fag butts on the ground. That's a bit.
It's very old school now. It's very old school. Jesus, what are you doing? Like, but anyway, that was that. But we had the beautiful Fred Cook, MC of the Tommy Tiernan show. People recognize him from a lot of things. He was on fire in the hill at the weekend, and we had we did. It was late to sell out. It normally sells out quite early, and because there was a lip sync battle thing going on up the road raising, which I wasn't giving out about. It was raising money for, I don't know, something that seemed noble. But we filled our place and Fred, oh my God. It's a long time since I've had a pain in my cheeks. Because you watch comedy differently as a comedian. You're going, oh, interesting. Yeah, I see where they,
analysing everything.
But you'd be like you watching rugby. You're probably doing a bit of roaring, but at the same time, you're kind of going, I see there. Just being a bit of an anorak on the scenario. But Fred is just born. He's a born comic with no jokes. It doesn't have to be any jokes. He can literally just look at you and you just start roaring laughing. He couldn't be anything else on it. He couldn't be your accountant. He couldn't be your solicitor. He couldn't work in your pub. He has to be your comedian. He's just, yeah. Oh my God.
Could he be a professional blackguard?
He is a professional blackguard. He's 100% a devilment maker, a blackguard, a jester, and all the things that you're supposed to be. Yeah, he's an absolute blackguard. He's a great man. And it was, great night. Neil Delamere's up next, and his first show is already sold out. So we're putting on two shows. Yeah, very, very good. Very exciting.
When's that?
That is the 27th of June. Will you be there or here?
I will be moving out of La Rochelle on the 27th of June.
By Jesus Christ.
For the summer anyway. I don't actually know if that's going to be indefinitely or not.
And where are you
But
going to on the 27th? Are you packing your bags the 27th of June, like, or will
pack
you be
my
home?
bags, have to move out of where I'm living anyway. Send me stuff home. I'll be home for about 2 days and then I'm going to LA like last year.
Of course you
Going
are. Are you going
coaching.
rugby in again over there teaching
Yeah,
rugby? Great.
coaching. Yeah, yeah, yeah. For the month of July, I'll be in the States most of the time. And then after that, whatever way the wind blows, it'll
Gallivanting
blow me along.
afoot, says you.
Yes.
Brilliant. See, that's
Yeah.
the real life of a hobbit. You're just off wandering, like with your hairy little feet, wandering. You'll get all these references when you watch Lord of the Rings.
Okay, rotten. Right.
No, it's
Hairy
adorable.
feet.
When you watch it, it's adorable.
Okay.
Trust me, it's adorable.
The last thing I fucking need on top of everything is some hairy feet. Will I tell you what I am getting? Is I'm getting shockwaves in my heel. I can't remember if this is on air or off air, or if I was telling you it all about it. If I've chronic pain in my heel, it's from like foot injuries I've had like
Ooh.
over the years that I've been managing and stuff. But basically, the tendon in my foot is like calcifying.
So you
So
get
I'm getting like
are they
shockwaves.
spurs? Are they?
Yeah,
You
it's a heel spur. It's a heel spur, or it's similar, or it's what like the beginnings of it, or something like that. So,
no
oh my
harm
God,
these.
it's
Yeah, you do no
fucking
harm.
terrible, but I need it.
Have you ever tried dry needling?
I love it.
It started out. I had a broken AC joint on this side from I think we were playing Cashel, and I got like that was getting electric shocks down my arm, and it sorted with 2 sessions. And this one I busted it. I don't know. It was a form of tennis elbow
Oh,
from a weekend. Would you believe it? Of all the stupid stuff I've done, this was just super cool. But I overworked. I did a blacksmithing weekend,
that would do it to you.
and of course everybody else was swinging the hammer, tip tapping away. I was trying to actually bust the metal for some reason because I'm too ignorant. And yeah, turns out there's a technique to it, and you don't do that. But the dry needling
Call it. Yeah.
was tremendous.
Oh, I'm addicted to it. It's very hard to find outside of Ireland. I couldn't find anyone to do dry needling in the UK, and no one in the club does it in France.
What? And it's
I'm sure in the professional side of things, but like in Ireland, like we were doing it all the time, like the difference it made, and the difference for the physio not to have to be like, fucking killing,
grinding
like
you out. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
grinding into your muscle, like your thumbs and everything, like so hard on your body. And the needle does it, like good dry needling, someone who's learned it right and can do it right. Fucking hell. The difference it made to me, it's prolonged my career. 100%
He
dry
showed
needling.
me on a video. It was as short as a GIF, but he showed me on a video. It was just twisted muscles. It would seem, or twisted nerves and muscles, and sticking in a copper wire, which is some ancient methodology, which makes perfect
Yeah.
sense to me because a copper wire is the superconductor.
Yeah.
It seems it shocks. It gives your muscles and tendons a shock to straighten themselves up, like do you know what they are? They're
Blackguards.
blackguarding under the skin, and it's like a Vuntor comes poking through the skin. Don't bleed or anything. It isn't sore. And the next thing, they just all go, "Zip, sorry, sketch.
Hup.
Yep. I shout out to former Leinster player Andy Dunn, who has a physio's in Mines, and he did it for me. His physio Owen, who actually has on his side gig, to tie in with a much earlier episode, is the singles night that I hosted. Yeah, so he's a
Jesus.
dry needling physio, and he owns a singles company.
That's ironic because I'm looking for a husband that does dry needling.
Ah, shit. He has a wife, I think. But hey,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
not. It mightn't be set in stone. It mightn't be set in stone.
No. No. Not. I need a single one. So
I,
single man who does dry needling, preferably like in your like 90s, so that like when you die, you can just have all your money.
Jeez. Oh well, I mean, if there's any guy to go to, it'll be let's talk to Owen over at Andy Dunn's. Let's talk there because
Any sugar daddy dry needlers,
yeah,
sugar dry needlers. That's what I need.
And at 90, I think that's what they're all called, is a dry nation. Sorry for making the podcast so crude, but I couldn't leave it on the table, lads. She
Copper.
put it.
Well, if the copper wire works. Right, we talking
Oh,
about rugby.
yeah, we should definitely talk about rugby. Yeah, yeah. Ruggers. Let's get into the ruggers. I'm pumped from the ruggers.
I am actually, wasn't it lovely to have just one match?
I was only talking to the old lad about he was giving out yards because he was watching. He had 9 tellies on around the place, watching everything when I called into him. And he
Oh
said,
yeah,
"Jesus
sorry, Man
Christ!"
United.
No, no, no football. GA, and the rugby. Soccer has never entered that household, never.
Okay.
Um, but he was good. It's tougher than Jesus. You'd know what to be watching. And then for me, I was exactly thinking the same thing. God, one slap bang game is nice. Do you know what I mean?
And we got fucking bang for our buck as well.
What a stadium! That was the first thing to hit me. It was like, Jesus, soccer those stadiums nice. It's Tottenham
Yeah, but
Stadium.
I don't know, and maybe people who were there can kind of attest, but I rewatched it because I watched it in McNulty's, obviously, and then I rewatched it on Sunday. Maybe I don't know, was it from my perspective, but the atmosphere sounded shite.
Yeah, but I was picking up on that too, and it did seem quite far back from the pitch. But I was kind of thinking maybe it was the, great day for a rose kind of gang. Let's be
Mm,
honest. They don't
mm.
bring the thunder, you know. They don't.
Yeah.
There was a
Yeah,
lot of cameras in the air doing selfies during the game. Do you know what I mean? Like there was
maybe.
I don't think you could, like, if you put Tottenham Hotspurs in there this coming weekend, I guarantee you there'll be an atmosphere there.
No.
Do
But
you
I
know what I
wish
mean?
I wish rugby fans, we in general, could learn from soccer fans. Like the fucking singing is unbelievable. But rugby used to be not nowhere near the same scale as soccer has ever been. But rugby used to be way more
Way
singing.
more singing. Way more. Song would break out on the Farce Terrace, and the next thing you're all in. You're all
Anytime
in.
there was a penalty, it's just fucking pipe and shit music in number one. But also, I just think kind of, yeah, like um the type, the demographic of fans. I don't know. They wouldn't be singing. I don't know. It's hard to know. It's
I
hard
per
to know why it stopped.
I personally think the day it kind of died in Munster was when they kind of force fed us the stand up and fight thing. It was kind of force fed. It never happened naturally, and then all of a sudden, okay, the Fields of Athenry went away because I don't know. It was, well, I guess it is a Galway song, but it becomes an Irish song, and
Maybe
it
I
just
used
seemed,
to love. Yeah,
yeah, it just seemed like it seemed to fade out
maybe as
as the
yeah.
teams brought their own entertainment too. It was like, no, we get it, but we can do the thing. We can do the thing. It's
Yeah.
fine. We can sing. Like,
But I used to love stand up and fight at the beginning of the match with all the flags.
yeah,
That used
yeah,
to be great. There was definitely a crossover where both were happening. There
there
was your
was, yeah.
stand up and fight at the beginning. First penalty or break and play, Fields of Athenry. Next, who knows what, and it kind of, I think it probably started to break down with the upgrading of the stadium.
Probably did, yeah, yeah. I remember I was at the opening of the first official when they played the All Blacks that time, and they choppered in the ball and all the rest. But somebody,
Mm.
and I don't know how so many people knew how to retort to it, but it is a tricky song if you don't know it to sing along with. Is Shannon Rugby's the Isle,
Mm.
and thousands of people knew it. And it was just,
Mm.
well, we're out. Like they'd sang all their songs in the first 30 minutes. Like it was like, okay,
Yeah.
let's move on to another song.
I know, but you sing it again, like.
Ah, yeah.
But they were all like they were the new days of sorry, the first days of the new stadium. So that was the
Mm,
crowd from the old stadium that
yeah.
kind of brought it along. And it's since just died away. Like it's sad. And we're obviously just talking in Munster terms, but in general, when I watched it back, what happened? Oh yeah. So I'm kind of obviously skipping forward ahead here, but like when Kieran Frawley missed the last
Drop goal.
drop goal
Yeah.
and the game was lost and won, the stadium was silent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I
It's
get it. The Leinster fans were obviously like silent, but you'd think you'd hear some kind of fucking groan from,
it
but it
was
was
very
genuinely
weird.
silent, as
Yeah.
if it was like a moment that like nobody even saw. It was very weird, and like Toulouse, where was their brass band? Like what? Like there was no noise at all. I was like,
No,
they've literally just won the game. But from that moment, the game is still going on. But like, if that, if it was maybe if it was the other way around, because I do think the Leinster crowd was louder. I was reading as well. The players never came out to wave at the crowd afterwards. The Leinster crowd.
what? They didn't do a lap of
Yeah,
honor.
no, and apparently they did the same last year. Um, Obviously you're very disappointed, but
The
also
job is the job. Get the fuck out of there. Get the fuck out. The big stick should be used there. Get out. That's who
get
bought.
out
That's
and
who's
thank the
paying your
fans. I mean,
wages.
absolutely, because the fans are disappointed as well. And as well, it can be cathartic. I know you don't want to be, you don't want the pain to go away in that moment because you want to feel it
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you
yeah.
just, I get that, but it can help, like, but also, sorry, again, we've skipped to the end of the game here, but one thing I noticed, and, I'm not trying to signify that there was trouble in camp or anything like that, but even the Leinster players, like, were just walking past each other, not saying anything at the full time whistle, didn't even look at each other.
Yeah, I didn't read too much. I saw that. I didn't read too much into it because I was saying,
Mm.
well, maybe we're just seeing a glimpse of maybe they're going to hug it out afterwards, or there's just a shell shocked,
Yeah,
or can you fucking believe this 3 times in a row kind of thing.
I know.
I do. I think I saw like people had TikToks of their day out and in Tottenham, and it was kind of subsequent to them going to buy handbags and stuff, and dick about for the day of, and the people around him, there was no, I'm not saying you got to be wild, but Jesus, tonight, give me a fella with his sandwiches in his pocket. Like there was,
Yeah.
like, it's describing exactly what you felt from watching it, watching these people just videoing the crowd around them game on, like, and they're doing selfie videos, like, and people around are doing the same thing, and there's people just sitting there just quietly watching the match, like they're watching it at home, like
Mm.
I don't know how you teach atmosphere into people, but Jesus, lads, let it rip, Taylor Chip, like.
I don't know. Like, I see what you mean. There's an awful lot of influencers, content creators, people that are invited instead of people who have genuinely gone out and bought the tickets. But I just don't think that is a massive thing that would affect the
No,
overall.
but what I picked up was from their cameras over their
Mm.
shoulder, showing up behind their
In
head. Everybody
general,
around
it
them was
looks
just
shite.
sitting
Yeah,
quiet. It was like, this is
yeah,
no crack. Like, what's Jesus
yeah.
Christ, lads? You're son of splitting the rocks. You're in a fucking class city.
Mm.
You're in the Heineken Cup final. Jesus.
Yeah. I don't know. I
It
don't
wa-
know, but fuck, what, like, the match in general? What you make of it?
Do you know? I mean, if you read it on paper, you go, like, if you actually read it on paper, you go, well, that sounds like a load of old shite. You took fucking nearly 100 minutes to score something. Like, you would. That's how you would. Now it was a humdinger, and some players were out of this world. But I think more than Toulouse won it, which is a stupid. I hate using this phrase, and it is stupid. It doesn't make any sense. But I'm gonna say it out loud anyway. Leinster lost it more than Toulouse won it because
I actually
dropping the.
disagree with that, and I know
Oh,
what you mean. People are, I actually think it wasn't, because people are like, oh, bottlers, like saying like, oh, same team as Ireland, just bottlers. I actually don't think they bottled it. I think Toulouse won it.
even with the amount of drop balls, like kicking the ball fucking
Toulouse made a
dead.
lot. Toulouse made a lot of fucking mistakes as well.
They did
It was
actually,
the
yeah.
moment. It was the moments like that Dan Sheehan
Oh my
interception
God.
gone.
God.
Sorry, no, like Antoine Dupont getting back and stealing that ball. Like, what the fuck are you supposed to do? You've just made a however many meters break, like, and it was just like a split second he had the opportunity to do it, and he did it to steal the ball. And that wasn't the only time. Like, them getting into the 5 meter, I think Toulouse were just like, when they're in the 5 meter, like, usually you just soak it up, but they were like fucking like a pack of Jack Russells inside the 5 meter. I thought they were just brilliant. And like every time, it wasn't like a drop ball from Leinster inside the 5 meter, or a silly misread or something like that. It was Toulouse's fucking pressure,
I
getting on
suppose.
the ball.
I think it's harsh to come down on Ross Byrne, but he didn't come up with anything. They had him read perfectly. Like, he didn't come up with anything that was going to unlock them. Do you know? And it's when, even though you have somebody as incredible as, Jamison Gibbs Park, Gary Ringrose, big loss too. Do you know what I mean? He can make you know what I mean? He can open get those doors up for other
Yeah.
people around him. I mean, I'm being flippant in how I threw away that statement, but it was just little things
Yeah.
like that. It was like, Toulouse were the better team. Overall, they were the better team. It was just, it had to get to 100 minutes before anybody scored. And hats off to their defence coaches. By Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? They had each other worked out brilliantly. But
Unreal. But also, like, it's exactly what we want rugby to be. There's none of this, like, you're saying well done to the defence coaches, which I completely agree with, because they're not just trying to kill the game. They're
yeah,
fucking going after the game. It's exactly the type of rugby you want, even though it's actually harder to but it's more exciting. That's like, the whole thing of like, oh, they blew their chances by not taking points. Oh, it's such a stupid debate, because the thing is,
that's hurler on that's Monday morning quarterback shit. Like,
but
you
it's
can easily
all
say
anyone's
that.
ever
Like,
talking about.
yeah.
And like, you could have fucking taken your points and still lost.
Yeah.
And then you'd be, discredited. Like, the result doesn't finish as the result if the result changes throughout. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It changes your attitude, it changes how you react to things. If it changes the momentum completely, any of those penalties kicked or taken or whatever. But the big thing about going for the corner, especially if you're playing a fucking world-class team like Toulouse, they were obviously trying to like send a message.
Yeah. We're not backing down, because it is straight away, like, anybody who's ever been to a rugby match, if they go to the corner and you believe in your team, you cheer them on, because you're like, yeah,
Unbelievable.
let's
I
do it.
always I love it when I see them going to the corner. I'm
Yeah.
never like, oh no. I'm
Take the
always like,
points.
yes.
Yeah.
And I know it didn't go their way, but that's only because of that's only because we knew the outcome. It was only the wrong decision because of the outcome.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Yeah,
And I
yeah,
know
yeah.
we've said that before, but like, I just think, um you it's just how sport works. Like,
That's
some
the
days you're a genius and some days you're not. It's just someone has to win and someone has to lose.
well, if you see, like, if you look over your shoulder and you see Joe McCarthy, you go, I'm putting him 5 meters out. Jesus Christ. He's the size of a fucking tree. Let's give it a go. Do you know, like, of course you're going to go for the corner, because you're like, we back ourselves here. And
Yeah.
again, like, you sent me on a good screenshot, and it was just these, as you have coined the brilliant phrase, absolute fucking toenails. Cullen needs to be, looked at. You're like, how? What are you on? How hard it is to get to one final ever, to get to three in a row, and you have to take each game on its individual merits, each moment, each quarter on its own individual merits. Like, it is what it is. They may get to another 10 finals and win nothing. It's just the other team deserves to be in the final too,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
it's fucking Toulouse with Antoine Dupont. I mean, any bookie in the world is going to go, lads, you might be doing class, but they've got that guy.
And even when you take Antoine Dupont out of it, look at the rest of the team.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
they're fucking unbelievable. But you're right, like,
what's
people
their
calling
English number 8 again? I keep on forgetting his name.
Oh, Jack Wills.
Jack Wills, my God. Where wasn't he?
I'm sorry now. Did you see the fucking head contact, shoulder to head contact on Doris? Jesus Christ. I swear to God, they must have been like, no red cards in the first however many minutes. I'm just surprised they didn't look at that again and give a yellow and a bunker, and then just hopefully think that TMO comes up with some kind of mitigating factor, because it was direct shoulder head contact, like, and people were saying to me online, like, no, it's not. But I'm like, it is according to World Rugby, not
Yeah, this is
according
an
to you or
opinion.
me.
This is an
It's
opinion. Yeah, yeah.
it's not my opinion. Exactly. It's not. I didn't say like,
I
oh, this
think
should have been a red card. It could have been. He could have because of that, and it's not his. It's not an intentional thing. It's not. It's just how he was caught out. Other players who have done actually far less because he was driving forward as well have missed whole games because they've got red cards for something similar or even less. He could have spent the whole fucking day on the bench, and on the flip side of that, they didn't look at it. They moved on. I wondered, he noticed. He must have been like, holy shit,
Mhm.
I'm lucky to get away with that. But had the game of his life, like, oh, what a fucking player. Like,
30 or 31 tackles. Holy shit. That's more than Steph Totoy in the World Cup.
yeah. Oh, he was just loving it. Like, just
He
fucking.
must have been so in the zone. Just one crack after another crack. Like 31 tackles over, let's say, 45 minutes in play. That's a long, long play for anybody going, but there's an 80-minute game. No, a lot of it is fluting around over the line, talking shit, fucking setting scrums. 45, let's say 45 minutes. That's a tackle every minute and a half. Like, that's on average. That is just bouncing off the ground, banging lads, bouncing off the
Nuts.
ground, banging lads, and just loving it. Like,
Loving it. Oh my God.
but can I go
Um,
back? Can I
yeah,
go back to Dan Sheehan?
yeah.
You just talked about what an amazing moment that was for rugby. But sweet Jesus, do you know what he did? Like, it wasn't just a perfect intercept. He actually kind of did what I was talking about, that the was it the Lions were at last week. He just
Mm,
snatched that ball. You know what I mean? He
mm,
he kind of, in a very unorthodox, kind of found himself in the place going, no, my ball. But the fucking gas on him. Now, okay, he'd 60 meters, but then all of a sudden, that superhuman. But not to jump straight, you know, down Dupont's short just this minute, because he'll definitely get his moment in the sun. But
mm,
and tip of the cap has to go to Dan Sheehan. Like, I find me a hooker that can do that. Jesus
mm.
Christ, over that distance, like, to cover that
Yeah,
ground. He'd everybody burnt
yeah,
bar him. Like, he's just,
yeah,
it was like,
yeah,
shit. Um,
yeah.
Andrew
Great.
Porter, an animal. Did you see
Yeah.
when they animaled through that scrum? And it was late on, it was maybe 50, 60 minutes in, and it was
Right.
great. It was perfectly timed. Whoever was commentating went, Porter thinks he has it here. He actually was so intuitive with it was like, it's just like watching fucking, it was just like watching a true gladiatorial battle in a split second. He went, oh, Porter thinks he has it here. He could read his mind by his body language, and he did. He just bucked up like a fucking bull and just rankled. Their entire scrum seemed to wrinkle like a blanket when he could just
Yeah.
and he just monstered through it. And he stuck the full game out there, like, Jesus.
Yes. Fucking hell. Um. Yeah. Incredible. Like. I just Josh Van der Fleer was unreal. Jemison Gibson Park. I've seen him. He was brilliant, but knows it his best game.
No,
Knows really.
I think he had a better one in the semi-final.
Yeah, I think
Um,
so as well.
but and everything changes for players, especially in a fella who, for scrum halves, it must be mad, because days can blow hot and cold, and it's you they're looking at. But like, the forwards can be doing different, giving you different arse pictures. The backs can be standing in different, because you are literally the fulcrum between the two. Your day can
Mm.
be decided completely about what the rest of the team is doing to you. You know, kind of going, would you fucking get over the ball? You know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
also
Yeah.
that's been forced by the likes of Willis and these, you know, and DuPont, in the 17 turnovers Toulouse had. 17 fucking turnovers. Like, that's a holy scandal. Only,
Like, and they just had to kind of just get up and walk away.
yeah,
Oh, like they had such cool heads. Like I was thinking, Jesus, like they must be fucking raging with, whether it's with the ref or the opposition or their own team, like for giving away the ball. But they literally just thought their kind of discipline that way was good. Like they
yeah, it
literally just turned
was.
around and walked. Andrew Porter was having a bit of a discussion at one stage, as was Cian Healy, with the kind of harder to know in the scrum though, because you don't know what the ref has said until you pick your head out of someone's arse. But like I just thought that was good. Like they just like got back, so like just turned around and walked away. Like I thought it was good. What about fucking Caelan Doris? Sorry now. I've never said a bad word about Caelan Doris. I absolutely adore the man.
Yeah, we
Like,
love him.
what an unbelievable player. But like few different things where you're like, you know the rules.
Yeah, yeah.
Where is it? What? Okay, what is it that you're gonna you're trying to get away with it, or you've completely forgotten the rule, or what is it, a blank mind? Because that I haven't seen that much in Caelan Doris. I feel, well, sorry, maybe we've seen glimpses of it before, but in a final like that, to like reach out and like grab the hand, like, is it that
Yeah.
the pressure is so intense that you've forgotten the rule, or the pressure is so intense that you're trying to get away with that? Because there's no way you're going to get away with that.
It has to. I was looking at it going, is there a lack of oxygen to his brain? Because he's normally a crafty, a good mannered player. Like he doesn't. I was like, is it tiredness? Because that's just straight up. Like he'd bollock somebody out of it if you'd hope he would anyway. If they did it on it, on his team.
Yeah,
Like it was
yeah.
really strange to see him doing that. It was like this self-destruct button just got pressed, and I can only put it down to fatigue, that the brain wasn't working, because he knows in his core that that's a stupid thing to do, snatching at the hand like that. I can
I don't
only imagine it's
know.
fatigue, or in the moment so
Yeah,
desperate to do something to ignite the match, that in that pressured environment you're kind of going, oh, Jesus Christ, I can only put it down to fatigue. I've done
yeah,
some stupid things myself on fatigue. You know yourself. I've bought
yeah.
ridiculous amount of squishies at the petrol station at 2 in the morning, and
He needed some.
I question myself the next morning.
We should have sent Caelan Dar some fucking squashies thrown into his pocket before the match. Um, yeah, I don't know. I feel like we're saying fatigue as an out because we cannot find another
No,
explanation for it.
there
But
is
like,
no other explanation.
yeah,
Like that are so desperate on your third final that you're going, I'll fucking do anything. I'll do anything. I swear to God, I'm gonna make it fucking happen in the next, and just a millisecond of a fucking decision.
I do feel like, you're talking about fatigue there, which obviously sets in later in the game. Go back to like the Jack Will situation, like how many red cards are given like early on in games, especially like a final, which then could ruin the final,
Yeah.
like because players are so pent up. I feel like that's the moment when you make the stupid decisions. Like if you're fatigued, you've been in the game
Yeah, I
situation
guess
now
so.
for
Yeah, yeah.
over, Jesus, how fucking long was the game? I had to laugh at this as well. Someone was fucking going on a rant online, basically saying like Leinster just weren't at the races, la 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 la. They really started to tire in the second half of overtime.
I know, yeah.
Fitness must fitness. Maybe I sent you a screenshot of it as well. It's like fitness must be questioned. It's like,
The end of a season, the end of a season, the fucking 100 odd minute of a Heineken Cup final. You've beaten everybody. You've gotten through to a Heineken Cup final at the end of a season in this hot weather. It's 100 minutes in of one of the
you're
most
playing to
physical
lose
sports against one of the best teams that has ever been created. Like, it's got 6 fucking stars.
in one of
You
the
need to
greatest finals. In one
check
of
your cardio, guys. Says some
Yeah,
fat fucker with a can of
fitness must be
cardigan on his.
questioned.
Yeah,
And eating Pringles on the couch. Fitness must be questioned.
as crumb
Doing
wiping crumbs off the screen on their phone.
I was like, here.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know. I know, sorry, that's feeding into what the toenails be saying, but like it is part of the narrative as well, what people say online, like, and that's then what I suppose the questions you would ask, like, were we fit enough? But I actually think you'd be like, yeah, I think we were I
yeah,
think
yeah.
we were fit enough.
You don't get to the final by not being fit enough.
Fuck, they
I
were
actually take your
unbelievable.
point. I think maybe it was just a pure brain fart out of pressure, just desperate to make something happen. Just
Mm.
fucking desperate to make something happen. And the ball is there. It's so tempting. He's wiggling it at you, going, go on, snatch at my hand. Like Conor Murray did one the week previous and got a yellow card. You know,
Players
right
do
on
it
his
all the
own,
time.
do it on their own
Players
line.
who I'd like to see the number of players who've done it and gotten away with it, because it happens all the time where you're like, you know the rules. Like, what?
There's an amazing, and the Dark Arts, as they call it. There's an amazing
Oh
one
yeah.
from the week when was it Ulster versus Leinster? It was, and I think it was. I could be wrong. Anybody wants to point me out wrong here? But there's a GIF of it, and like somebody like Murray Kinsella put it up or somebody like that, and it's this kind of at full pace. This ruck goes to happen, and it's a jumble of bodies for a split second, and still I'm going to say Caelan Doris just had the awareness for where his foot was going to be, and he just dragged the scrum half's hand a little bit, and all you see is like a little monkey paw coming out in the way of a foot. You like the ref was right there, and nobody would have spotted in a month of fucking Sundays. Knock on, do you know? And it was just enough to be bowled, like just hidden
Was
enough
it with
from.
his own hand?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm nearly sure it was Doris. I stand to be corrected, but it was a beautiful move, caused a knock on. Um, and the ref even standing right there just didn't see it. So tell me this and tell me the more. Was it James Lowe's try was chalked off? Was that a knock on? It's kind of weird, wasn't it? Couldn't really see. Was it a knock on?
Sorry, was this when play had stopped?
They went
Was
back.
this when play had stopped and they continued to play and he scored in the corner?
No, no, no. Yes,
Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. They were.
why can't I picture this try?
No, sorry, it went back. I think that was a penalty he'd blown for or something.
Yeah.
He'd blown toward, but there was another.
And then James Jones like, what? He always like
He's
he could
so.
he could clothesline someone and be like, what?
There was a knock on, and in my opinion, it wasn't. I couldn't see fingers on the ball. Anyway, pointless asking if you can't rack your memory for it. I'll catch the gif of it again. Kinsella put it up, or some other rugby reporter put it up. And went, what do you reckon? On Twitter or whatever, and I was like, Jesus,
Mm.
oh Jesus.
But I actually wasn't there was a previous offence as well, but they looked at the knock on first or something like
Yes,
that.
yeah, yeah, yes, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So if it hadn't been knock on, it would have been something else anyway, I think. Now I actually sorry, I need to really look at that because I feel like I'm crossing over on my points there.
Hey, we will. Um,
Yeah.
but Jesus, I mean, you have to feel for like this could have been his moment. For all he comes on, does make he did.
Oh,
I mean, he'd everything behind that ball. He bags of time. He seemed to connect properly, and it just drifted off. And then and you're kind of going, is not to compare, apples and oranges, but there's, and this has been very reductive, is to suggest that, do you know there's moments in careers that you go, okay. And let's say Jack Crowley's was last year in the semi-final of the URC, and he cracks that and just he made it happen. He had far less space, and he made it happen in far less space. You kind of go, Crowley, was that or Frawley, was that your Ryder Rovers moment? You go on, save the day, win it. It certainly would have propelled him. It should have propelled him against ahead Harry Byrne anyway. Do you know what I mean? Whatever about Ross
yeah.
Byrne, but Harry Byrne, like.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. But I really felt for him when fucking Ross Byrne was dragging his leg around and Kieran Frawley was on the sideline watching for ages and the camera kept cutting to him. I literally was just like,
Yeah.
please, just put him on the fucking pitch. Like, the message you're sending him now is we would prefer to keep this player who's dragging his arse around than put you on. What message is that sending to Kieran Frawley? There, like, it's not a good one. So he was the one that was desperate to try and make things happen, because not only was his match, the match like in the balance and the score and everything, and as well he's the number 10. It was this like lack of faith that the coaches have in him that he was also battling with.
Yeah.
It's just so obvious that they didn't want to put him on the pitch at that time.
I
And it
can't
was,
understand what he has to do. I
mm,
I now look, we're not privy to training. Maybe they have different statistics, but fucking statistics, they have the GPS
mystic.
statistics, shemistics. That lad has got it. Like he's got the tang. Do you know what I mean? I mean, the two Byrne brothers, fucking fine rugby players, but like to see him ending up at the top end, they're not. Like, there's no ceiling to Jack Crowley. There is none. There was none to Johnny Sexton. There was none. And I don't see
Mm,
much of a ceiling if he's given the reins to Frawley. You know what I mean?
yeah.
A right by up, but for some reason they've the two Byrne brothers ahead of him and they've done nothing. Let's be honest, they've done nothing for him.
Mm,
Do you know they brought
yeah.
him no gold? And
Yeah.
I still harp back to that match last year it was like the 72nd or 74th minute, and I'd say it nailed down any question for Jack Crowley when he took off in a run and squarely ran at Byrne. He didn't actually try to go
Mm,
around him. He squarely ran at him like something out of rugby league and fucking
mm,
flattened him. And that was a
mm,
moment where it was like, yep, that's. It was at that moment I realized that I fucked up. Do you
yeah.
know, like,
I know. I know what you're saying there about like Kieran Frawley. Like, was it his chance to kind of propel himself forward? Maybe, but also, look at Raj. Like when Raj fucking lost it for Munster, like,
yeah,
there's still time, and there's still time then to build on that and continue, and you become maybe a better player for it. It's just a huge cost to Leinster in
yeah.
general that it's their third fucking final in a row. Oh my God, what a sickener.
It is a sickener. Do you know what? It's a worse sickener, ironically, than if you lost three semi-finals in a row. Do you know what I mean? You're kind of going, era. We weren't okay. We were even a game away from it. You know what I mean? It's been so close to it, and you go, Jesus Christ, can they go back to the well again? Like, can the same players have the same hunger? Like, not for the next few days anyway. Fuck this fucking sport. I'm going off fucking camping for a few months. But you can't, lads. Do you know what I mean? You can't. You've got Ulster at the weekend. Like, you can't. Time to fucking put your boots back on and, you know, make sure
I
you
don't know.
a dry arse on you and get back out and fucking play again. That's it.
I
Just
can't I can't even think about it for them. I don't even know what they
no,
must feel like.
I cannot. I mean, you could only think about it. You couldn't be in any way. I think you could be compassionate for the first few days, but come Wednesday, I think you just have to become a boss then again. If you're in Cullen's shoes, tis like this now, boys. If you'll all have a bit, you're all getting paid next Tuesday, so you better
Yeah.
finish out the fucking week or fucking be looking for another job somewhere else. Because look who we can fucking afford. There's a
No.
fucking there's a Barrett on the way and a fucking Snyman on the way. So fucking pull up your fucking socks and get out there.
No, I
I
know.
think that's the only way. If now they are professionals and they're hungry and all the rest, but do you imagine they're still on the beer? I would hope to think they're still having a having a cure anyway. Um, it's Connacht. Sorry, the Connacht they play at the weekend. This could be Connacht's chance to catch them if they're a bit
Yeah.
fucking,
But
you
that's
know.
like La Rochelle. La Rochelle have Toulouse this weekend.
Oh
We're, ho-
Jesus,
we're hoping they'll still be hammered. Like we need we need the 4 points. We could do with the fifth point, I say now. So if we could get that'd be great.
Jesus!
Hopefully they're
Hopefully
like
they're still going around on the back of that fucking zebra. Can somebody please tell me what in all of
it
Jesus?
it's the Investec logo.
I thought because Benetton, isn't it Benetton?
Yeah,
Zebre. Sorry, Zebre.
February. And
Zeb.
they use yeah. Because I saw a load of people with zebra bucket hats, and I was like, why are they all? And my friend Ruth's like, maybe it's a stag party. I was like, no, there's old ladies and everything. Like everyone's wearing
Some
them.
stag.
I know. The strippers joined them at the match. The old ladies. A sugar lady dry needler
Oh gee,
in a zebra hat.
sugar nana, sugar nana.
Sugar needler. Sugar nana needler. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, sorry, that's what it is. It's the Investec logo. So
Right. So they thought to be a good idea to bring out a big polystyrene and not expect King or Blair King which by the way, one of the coolest names in rugby. I never actually,
yeah,
I never, Blair Kinghorn is some name.
Have you sorry, this is after going into bedtime mode here for me now.
Well, even the phone is
Um
like, here, it's just fucking late enough now.
phone's like, will you shut up and go to bed? um did you see, first of all, of course you'd expect the players to get in the zebra. Like,
Yeah,
why
that's what I
not?
mean. Like, that's what I mean.
Oh yeah. And then did you see that clip of Blair Kinghorn when he broke his nose
Oh my
on
God. He
the
was on,
podcast with Max Lahif and your man Ryan, what's his face?
yeah,
It
it
was
was a,
very funny.
oh
They
my
were
God.
laughing at him like,
It
and he's
was
like,
in shit. Like in
oh,
shit.
no, that's like me when I broke my nose. Oh my God.
I surely wasn't as, like, Jesus Christ, his was in fucking pointing three different directions.
No, very bad.
I've been very lucky with my broken noses. Broken noses. I've only the one broke one nose, but it broke evenly and cleanly one time, and that's where it went, just on a hinge. I see other poor old lads turn their fucking, tis like an ear hanging off their face.
Oh God, yeah. Mike Tyndall. Um, sorry, you said the word noses there. Can I tell you a story from school today?
Go on.
The kids, and these are the little kids now. I think they're 6 and 7, and we've been
I love
learning
how
like.
you're their teacher, but you're like, I think they're 6 or 7, or
But
just
sure, I
dwarfs.
only see
I
them.
don't
I
know.
only see them once a week, so I can't remember. But we've been doing body parts, but especially in French, it's really hard for them to hear like the end of the word.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
They don't pronounce the end of the word in French. So it's very strange for me to be saying something and they can't repeat it back to me because they just can't hear the
No,
end of the word.
they don't land T's at all at the end of words, like
Yeah,
DuPont,
yeah, yeah.
DuPont, or
Yeah,
croissant.
yeah, yeah. I know, yeah, it's so funny. Yeah, croissant and DuPont. I know, exactly. So, but we were doing okay. Here is my leg. Here are my legs. Okay. And then one kid, he loves doing the plural. So he's like, here is my nose. Here are my, and I was like, but how could you have two? How could you? And he was like, oh, I don't know. I was like, okay, so let's just say you're a monster, okay, and you have one and two. What do you think it sounds like? And they were like, nose, 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 and I was like, it's noses, like that. And he went to repeat it back to me, and he was like, here are my noses, like that. And I was like,
That is what you
what
sound
kind
like,
of,
actually. Yeah, that's
I was like, what kind of accent do I have to them? Can they hear? I was like, do they think that I'm from Kerry or something? Because he's like,
to
here are my noses. And I was
to
like,
be
oh.
fair. You have a bunch of Healy Ray children in France. They'll all be so proud that they have English now. They'll be like, come here, oh my God, a bum hem, and I'm talking to my teacher in a caveless. She was the one. They're going, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Yeah, but to be fair to that kid, noses, it did sound a bit. There was a touch of mellow in there. I won't lie. Now there was that
it
young.
sounded so funny. I literally was like, I wish I recorded that. It sounded so funny. Like, noses. Like,
Noses.
it's funny that you said the word no. You said noses there a second ago. It's like, oh my God.
I don't know if I've ever said noses before. So there was
I
something. There was
know.
something wanted me to subliminally bring that story out of you. Yeah, I saw them all. They were fecking everything from the stadium, the players, which I loved. I love seeing that. They fecked the corner flags. They fecked the ball. They picked up the zebra. He was gone.
Oh, yeah.
Lord only knows what that poor old zebra is now. They fecked everything. And then I see yesterday they were still, Toulouse were still on the piss. They
Oh,
were having
yeah.
a great time. Kinghorn, it was zooming in on Kinghorn and he was locked. So I was like, hopefully for La Rochelle this
Right.
weekend.
Oh, yes. The only one that's not on the piss is GOATDUPONT.
Yeah. Yeah,
Le
of
Go.
course. Because of course he's got the sevens coming up.
Yeah.
There was a touch of sevens about what he was up to, wasn't there? Do you notice he was just he was right in for Jackling straight away, like really
Mm.
quickly, and it actually worked. Like he got in and had a couple of steals as well, and that's a real
But I think,
sevens thing, isn't it?
uh, yeah, I suppose. But you've way more time to do it in
Yeah, of
sevens. Like,
course.
fuck and lightning quick. But I think that's the Toulouse mentality, like the Jack Russell, like
Mm.
fucking and if you can do it, oh my god, he's fucking unbelievable. So got to this point now. So he's gone to Madrid already. His party is over. You'd be a
We've
little bit
gotten to
gutted
this
for him, to be honest.
DuPont in the podcast.
The Antoine Dupont.
Jesus Christ, they had to change rugby just to change a rule that they named after him that he unlocked. Like,
Oh, wait, this is why I'm saying rugby AD. There'll be
yeah,
rugby BD and rugby AD after Dupont.
yeah. He's
So
sweet
the
Jesus, like.
the discussion is that everyone is having it. We might as well jump on the bandwagon and join in the discussion because it is interesting. Is he the greatest rugby player of all time? It's so funny. I was just watching a video where what's your man's name? Andy Good
Oh yeah,
literally said all of the points that I was like, well, that's bullshit. Like I was like writing out some points and I was like, there's no point saying because he hasn't got a World Cup. Like that's what a fucking stupid thing to say. Like that's not you
yeah.
don't win a World Cup because you're the best player. Like it's a World Cup is for a team. Stupid point. How could you say that? I even thought that was retarded for Messi. Do you know, like
Yeah, it's utterly redundant. It'd be one thing if it was an individual sport like boxing or something, and even still, some boxers just get the raw deal. They end up, not getting the fights they should have gotten. But DuPont, like, are you telling me so that Jean Klein is a better player because he happened to end up being on the bench for South Africa, but got a gold medal? You know what I mean? Like,
100%.
do you know what are you talking about, Andy? Shut up out of
Exactly.
that.
So it can go both ways because you'd absolutely be like, oh no, well that obviously doesn't make John Klein one of the best players in the world. So why would you say it about someone who doesn't have a medal?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know how it doesn't swing both ways. Like you could be the best player in the world and like you could be playing for you could be playing for like Bosnia and Herzegovina and no one knows about you.
Yeah.
You know? So obviously I feel like DuPont's pathway has probably helped him slightly on this way. But another one of the arguments that comes up against it, because for me, I'm like, oh, all this gushing over DuPont. But then when I hear the counter arguments, I'm like, no, you're actually wrong with that. Like people saying Dan Carter.
Yeah.
Like Dan Carter was an outstanding number 10. Full stop. That's like saying Jonah Lomu. Jonah Lomu was a one-trick pony. Fantastic winger. Like
Not a great tackler. Not a great tackler.
well, there you go again. But it's one of the the arguments. But like what DuPont is able to do, like, oh my god, did you see that clip where he just like nothing's on, he just sticks his head up from the rock, bang, 50-22.
Yeah, like
just
and just whip the leg at it. No, even his other players, his own players are like, fuck. Do you know, there was a moment and just not even a smile, just pure French, like just.
That's it. I love it about him. He just be like with his angry face, like running around, like oh no 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 no, yeah, oh, lo, 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 like just
Yeah,
running
yeah,
around with
yeah.
an angry French head. And the 50-22 and Brian Abana and Stephen Kitchop are in the crowd and they're like, holy shit, like that was so
You can
good.
just do that. I know there was I remember watching even training footage of him, and it was of course afters because that's if you don't get to there if you're not doing afters. And he was wrapping these box kicks up for himself, 50 meters, and sprinting and catching his own box kicks. Like, and you're going, I love it, Jesus. Like, there's no like he had the game of his. I'd say the game of his life. The fucker has that every weekend. He is invented. He has revolutionized rugby. I think he has, and that's what sets him aside. Is that I won't say he's revolutionized. Just they call it the DuPont line that they're all scrum halves seem to be taking now, trailing the runner. But he can fucking do everything. Honestly, we
Yeah.
joked about this months ago. We said if you put that fucker in the front row, he'd probably have done his homework and could give it a go. He's certainly
Yeah.
strong enough.
Yeah.
Like he defies logic. But when the old man we were up at the house yesterday, says, what is he? Is he farming stock or something? How is he so strong? I said
Mm.
judo, and the
Mm.
old man did judo for years. He went, oh, okay. I don't need to hear anymore because
Right.
he knows it's immediately. And I know because doing exhibition martial arts, like when I did karate and taekwondo, and stuff, you'd come up against judo guys and they would have no flash, but you could not move them with fucking dynamite. Whatever. And it could be the slightest man. He could be 7 stone. You cannot get them going in any direction with a fucking shovel and pick. They just weld it to the ground and can, with simple technique, will fire a man twice their weight over their head. Like,
Mm-mm.
you can really see it now. As soon as I mentioned it to him, he's like, oh, for fuck's sake. That's why he's perfectly balanced. He is
Yeah.
absolutely down to the milligram, perfectly balanced in every
Yeah.
direction.
It's his center of gravity
It's
as well.
immaculate. It's
Yeah.
immaculate for the modern day
Yeah.
game. His center of
Yeah.
gravity, his just his structure, everything, and his foot, like his foot presentation behind himself, under himself, everything. And he is brave as shit because he's as tough as an. If you got a brown belt, I think brown belt's what he got to brown belt in judo. He's as
Mm.
tough as a fucking hammer too. Like, you know what I mean? Nothing
You can
phases him.
see it. You
Yeah,
can
you
see
can
it.
see it.
His build helps him, obviously. You know, like short and stocky, like
Yeah.
short limbs. But also a lot of players are like that, and he's just he's just his awareness, like, but also, do you know what it is as well? Like his leadership and like the way he's talking to the ref. He's so respectful, and he's so, like, you'd never see him losing the head.
No.
He's never losing the head at his teammates. He leads them so well and so calmly. So that also contributes to his status as potentially, whether it's a yes or no. I'm excited to see the conversation like continue and see what else he can do for us.
Mm.
Like, but you know, that contributes as well to his status as best player in the world or best player of all time. We don't know, but just his nature, you know.
Well, if you had top trumps, you play top trumps when you were a kid, like, and you flip over the card on him, and you go, okay, well, tackling, Jesus, that's a 10. Okay, well, passing, Christ, that's a 10. Let's put nature in there and how he behaves himself, discipline wise around the field, and how he is as a leader. Ah, for fuck's sake,
10.
look, he's 10 again. Let's look into speed. Oh, right, he's as fast as a fucking winger. For
100%.
fuck's sake, Jesus Christ, is there anything? Well, let's see accuracy of kicking when he can just fucking loft his leg at it from the back of a rock when nobody's expecting to hit a 50-22 in a fucking final when everybody else is a bag of fucking nerves to a degree. This guy's just got ice running through him, like.
It's actually, isn't it so, like, I feel like that ball was a couple of blades of grass from like touching the line and going out.
But he
You
knew where
know,
those blades of grass were. And this is a pitch that's smaller than a rugby pitch. It's 5 meters shorter. Soccer pitches are 5 meters shorter than rugby pitches.
but that means it's wider.
Maybe it's wider then. So he knew where that blade of grass was. Whatever, it didn't have the same parameters as what he plays in the top 14 every week.
If if it's made shorter, then it's pushed wider. So the
area
actual
is the same.
dimensions are the same. Yeah, the area
Okay.
is the same. Yeah. So maybe he knew that as well. He's like, this is a little bit longer or a little bit wider, or just bang. It was unbelievable. It was just such a typical Dupont. Like, you never see, oh, that was a strange miss from Dupont there now. He doesn't usually miss. You know,
No.
like, commentators don't ever have to say that about him because everything he does is so fucking pinpoint. Sorry, say that. He has made errors as well. Like, the steal
Yeah.
from like Dan Sheehan just plucking it out of his hand. I'd say he was like, oh, what the fuck? That's why he got back to make the turnover, because he was like, this isn't happening on my watch. Like, I'm not giving away a turnover and a subsequent try. I'm doing whatever power is left in the laces of my boots to get back and make that turnover, and he fucking did.
Can you imagine it? Can you imagine it like you robbed off DuPont? You're like, yep, all right. And you're gone.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck me, I'm fast as fuck, boy. I'm a fat. Oh no.
Robbed
He's
his
stolen
bike.
it back again. Shit. Like, you can't even be overly pissed off if you looked up and it's fucking Antoine Dupont has done you. You're like, yeah. Sure, to be fair, lads, it happened to the best of us. It happened to the best of us. In fact, I'm one of the best of us, and he's done it to me, says Dan Sheehan. Like, I know I didn't want to be cliche like everybody else and be gushing over Antoine Dupont, but
I know.
my God, on the biggest
I know.
stage, you can do
I
it.
agree. I agree. But then you look into it and you're like,
It has to be mentioned. It has to be mentioned. Like the only Bernard Jackman is obviously amazing for analysis, but he put up a clip, maybe a 2 minute clip earlier in the week, and he said the only team to have ever bossed him in recent times was Munster had him worked out. He highlighted the player that would come out of a ruck and just hassle him to the point backwards that he couldn't he couldn't pull the DuPont trigger. You know what I mean? To make the DuPont magic happen. They kept on
mm,
nipping the fuse before
mm,
it got lit. That's all they kept
mm,
doing, nipping the fuse where it got lit. And it was brilliant that like the back rows and the second rows all had DuPont in their sights, and everybody at one time would have the individual job of going after him and
yeah.
finishing him off. And
Mm.
it was he says the last team that I can think of. It was a brilliant piece of analysis. Now, no doubt, DuPont has gotten better since then. Do you know, would they be able to do it now? Probably not. Do you know, he
Definitely.
I mean, they
Definitely.
have, yeah, they have amazing players and amazing Entimac. It was cool seeing Entimac's old man on the who himself was a fucking unbelievable player in his day. Like, but they were going, "How what are your feelings right now?" He's like, he was just in bits with nerves. You could see the man. He was like, I spoke to him this morning. Of course, he's just been, that's fine, Dad. You know, just playing now game. He's like, no, you don't understand. He was in bits over it. Like, yeah, yeah. But you know, as he put out like a slim menthol cigarette just before he goes out, like, and just looks like a supermodel out there, but can actually play. Like, the only thing, like, Entomac, it's a fright to actually have DuPont in your team because you'd nearly miss some of the other players that are incredible.
That's what I feel as well about Entmac number one.
I
Like,
thought you were going to say that's what that's what I feel. Well, that's what all my old teammates feel. You know, they're just raging that I'm around, just fucking
right.
rampaging around the field, just doing
Yeah,
cool
yeah, yeah,
shit.
exactly. I know exactly. Oh well,
No,
how
the
they
rest
must
of it,
feel.
yeah,
Mm.
it's. But I suppose the question is now, um, for on the Japan thing, like, what's he got? Like, is he just going to be amazing at sevens as well? He probably will be, I'd say, because in so far, so good. Do you know what I mean? He's
But
unreal at ruggers.
I
Like,
think we spoke about this at the time that when France
yeah,
won the series in, where did they win it? It doesn't matter. They won one of the seven series when Dupont came and played for them. So not only does do you have like the skills of someone like Dupont, the whole team is given this extra like buzz of
yeah.
energy of this hidden thing that you cannot just naturally untap yourself. Like you can't just tap into it willy-nilly. Like it's something like this feeling of this player coming or someone coming to watch you or some weird thing that taps into and you can't do it yourself. So they get that effect from him, so the DuPont effect, but also like we discussed before, like the referees are now more on your side because if you like if they know that you've got a quality player like DuPont, or that you've got like this, this it's like you could see it that weekend for France. Referees, like something can either go your way or not, but if they know you're a team like New Zealand or a player that knows his shit really fucking
Oh, so
well.
your best intentions are to be really good at the game rather than actually mucking about with causing trouble. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, yeah.
Sorry, I explained that in a really roundabout way, but I thought you'd pick up on it quicker because I know we've
No,
talked about
I
it
was letting
before.
you, because
I was,
it was actually quite hilarious from my point of view. You did more fucking walking around that story. You normally are really
I,
straight to the point, but he brings almost an ethereal, godlike thing to a game. And in a situation like that, I'm not saying I don't think what you're saying is that they'll be overall, but they'll say, well, look, if the quality of DuPont is entering this now equation, well, Jesus Christ, you must be all on your best behavior as a result because he doesn't have to fuck around or cheat. Uh,
Yeah.
so I'll just take 1% of an eye off ye, and I'll keep an eye on these other fuckers because they'll probably have
Mhm.
to be a bit shitty to get underneath his skin.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah. Yep.
it's and then not to brush him aside. I wonder too. I do think of, is there somebody in the squad going to, who's been in this squad for fucking that, been touring with friends? They're going to be left at home now and not make the Olympics because Antoine Dupont has decided, can I join the bus? You know,
Same as Hugo Keenan.
yeah, that's where it came from. When I was thinking today, I was like, these boys,
Mm.
like, Conroy and all these lads who've been doing it around the world. And now Hugo goes, "Hi guys, any chance we could absolutely send it?" And they're going, "Class." And they just look. All of them look at the guy closest to the door and go, "You might not let that hit you on the way out there, would you? Because now
And
Hugo's
it's
here."
yeah, 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 yeah. It's hard. It's hard on the squad. It's hard on the squad because they know someone of their teammates who's been on the journey with them is going to lose out.
Yeah.
Um,
Isn't Michael Hooper gone to play with the Australian Sevens?
yes, he's gone training with them anyway.
That'd be class if he can. Well, if anybody could do it, he could because he's such an athlete. Like, but
Mm.
I think there's a big age gap between him and a lot of the lads that are playing. But do you know what
Yeah.
though? To send him out there would be a great message. Well, not maybe not a
Mm.
message, but at the same time, it would be.
But it'd
It,
have the same effect.
yeah, it would. You're bringing an authority to the team. It's like, oh, the real sport. Not saying that rugby 15s is more important than sevens, but it is more lucrative. It is a more eyes on sport, but it is. It would definitely bring a fella with. You're going, well, this fella, he's done the business. So again, it would draw eyes to the sport. I think. Do you know,
Mm.
it'd be cool for
Well,
the sport to,
yeah,
you
that's
know,
that's that's the price you're paying as well. Like there is someone who's working their whole off
yeah,
who won't get to go because of Michael Hooper, DuPont, Keenan. Like that's the harsh reality of it. And if it's more a case of like, because with DuPont, I do feel like, especially at the time when it was announced, it was more of a publicity thing
yeah.
than an ability thing because we don't know how good he is at sevens. Obviously, he played well that one weekend, but like the amount of fucking gushing over him was actually sick. Like, oh, like DuPont, like putting on his socks. DuPont, like, running up and down. Like all the content creators were just raging that he didn't get more time on the ball or more impact. It probably impacted the squad, like we already said, but he didn't himself. Like he played well, but he wasn't able to, like, he's still learning it.
Do you know what? Isn't it just as well that Dupont's skill fell out of whatever heaven you believe in and fell into a French fella? Do you know, in one way?
Mm.
Because, like, they just have the, fucking whatever. I'm maybe next I will race cars and then I will be a fashion model. I will design my own clothes as well. And you'd believe him. But, like, if that fell into a fella from Roscommon, do you know, it wouldn't fit. This fella's head would,
Oh,
like, things. I don't know. It'd be amazing to see it, but
oh,
I don't know if he would get the full benefit of being that talented. Do you know that kind of way? Because would they open themselves up to it? Like, you might end up with a fucking Conor McGregor if where you're like, Jesus,
yeah,
fucking ruined it,
yeah.
ruined it.
No, you're right. You're right. You fucking would end up with someone like Conor McGregor. Absolutely, that's what you do. You're right. Giving it to someone French is like,
Perfect. Yeah, they invented basically royalty. They invented the whole idea of royalty in the modern medieval sense. Everybody else was just kind of scratching around, just kind of going, eh, eh. And they just made it cool with kings and queens and all that stuff. So they've been cool forever. Hey, Leinster play Connacht at the weekend.
mhm.
Um, are the boys going to be hungover or are they going to be ferocious?
I don't know. I don't know about ferocious, like ferocious.
But you know what? This is a gross thing to get used to and suggest. But if you get punched in the jaw enough times, after a while, it doesn't hurt as much because your jaw is just either, well, it's broken or it's fucked and you can't come back and you'll never be the same fighter. Or it's calcified, much like your heel. It just doesn't even feel pain anymore. It's like,
Well, I tell you now, the amount of pain I have in my heel,
and you've never been punched in it once.
I can't even walk, and I reckon that's how I'd feel. I feel like Leinster are calcifying.
So
That's what's happening to them. They're slowing down and they're in pain, and they need to be shot with some shockwaves.
some dry needling in the whole team. The whole team needs one big dry needle just stuck in
Yeah.
all their legs and
One
arses. And
big copper wire, and they all hold hands, and that'll be their warm up. That'll be my warm up. If I was Leo Cullen, I'd be like, right, forget we're going into the pub and we're all drinking for a week
and then
because
we're going to hold on to a big copper wire, stick it into the ground, and we're just going to suck up Mother Nature's electrolytes.
and then we play.
Class.
And then we put all the positions in a hat, and then everyone pulls one out, and that's what you play. You never know what you could find.
You never know.
Might as well.
Um,
I say they'd fucking win. That's the only way you get a reaction. You'd be like, if you change the face of the world completely. If I lost and I was feeling that way, and then the coach turned around and said, "Man, we're going to go drinking and singing for a week," and then at the weekend, it'd be like going to a Sevens festival.
yeah, or the Barbarians or
So
something. It's like, yeah,
Yeah,
what you know about, like, just
they have to come in fancy dress and just they do a dance for a warm up. They hold the copper wire and all that. Like that's if that was me, I'd be like, fucking can't wait for this. This would be great because it just you forget about everything. But
yeah, it would shake off the cobwebs, all right, wouldn't it?
when are Leo Cullen and the likes going to start listening to our suggestions?
Jesus Christ, I don't know. We need to, do you know what we need to do? We need to start getting somebody to transcribe this whole podcast because I don't know if Leo would listen to a podcast, but I feel he would read it in statistic form, an actual bullet point suggestion form.
Has anyone opened Bunster Burger yet?
I'm gonna make a Bunster burger this weekend. I am doing a charity gig on Friday night for my very good friend. I don't know if you can see. There's a cup back there with his face on it. He was the man who introduced me to stand up comedy, the great Billy Anderson. I think it's sold out, and we do a benefit every year for his kid, because Billy was taken too young in a car accident just 2 years ago. But the following night I'm opening for the great and powerful Deirdre O'Kane in Clane. Very excited. I'm going to miss the Munster Ulster match, which I think is going to be a dinger of all sorts of home because both tails are up now at the minute. Ulster need pints. They need pints, of course. Munster do too at the same time, but
Ulster need pints and Leinster need pints.
Yeah, pints all around. Pints.
Yeah, pints all around this weekend.
We don't do predictions on this. What would you like to see from the Ulster match, Leinster, or the Ulster match, Munster match?
Just Munster having a bit of a crack, and Ulster, to be fair, good few tries.
Yeah,
good few tries.
It was a nice arm wrestle at the weekend, but I'd like to see some fucking tries, please.
Yeah, some tries, and obviously Munster win would be very nice.
Yeah, I want to see Calvin Nash do that again. What he did. He took off from first phase, fooled everybody, and just ran around. I'd like to see that. He's retired. Yeah. He's announced his retirement. The great Simon Zebo. What a man. Love to see him having a crack. Munster have also signed. I think they're signing a guy, Packer, something or other from. Was it the Sharks? I think he's playing with. I don't know him at all. He covers the back three by all accounts. I'm sure we've seen him move like a fucking rocket. Apparently, he's an incredible rocket of a player. He covers all back three. I think he's been asking to be left go early from. I think he's with the Sharks. Because Munster are looking for him since Zeebs is out the gap and is probably going to turn to the fashion world or the music world. I would one or the other. I would imagine he won't be short of it anyway of what to be doing with himself. I'm waiting to find a dry needle for myself. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but stick it into the dog or something and hook myself up to the dog. Myself and the dog just stick away. Like that movie Big. You remember when he switched with the mother and daughter switched? What was that one? You remember that? No?
13 going on 30?
Was that maybe that's it?
No. No, it's not. I don't know. Anyway.
That was lovely. Yeah, we shall reconvene and hope your foot feels better. You find an old bit of copper wire and make a go of it yourself.
Oh no, yeah.
Get a couple of
Come on.
compression socks before you get on the plane,
Oh
and
yeah.
you mind the rocks.
You mind the rocks.
It's the Banana and Bear